this occasion without even having looked at the films. So I was also thinking, what shall I say when I address you? My name is Bernd Appelt. I work for GIZ. By profession, I'm a medical doctor, surgeon, and health economist. And having worked in Africa and other parts of the world, but mainly Asia, for the greatest part of my life. I left Germany in 1987 before the wall collapsed and started working in Zimbabwe and spent the next 20 years more or less there. The second part of my life I spent in Asia, Pakistan, Cambodia, Nepal. As a project manager for GIZ, I try to work on improving health systems and to make people use better health services. The problem with the doctor is I sit as a doctor and people don't come. Or if they come too late. So what do I do then? Do I go out and look for them? Or do I ask somebody else to communicate with them? I studied medicine, surgery, health economics. I don't want to go from household to household to convince a diabetic patient to come to the hospital, or to convince a woman to come for antenatal care to the hospital or to the healthcare center. And I think we have to communicate. Health has to communicate with people. We all have to communicate with each other on an appropriate level. And I think that's where film comes in. So I have two films which I've seen. One is Dignified Menstruation at the bottom, and an international film, and the other one, No Smoking, Please. I smoked for 25 years of my life. I smoked about 400,000 cigarettes during this 25 years, and it really cost me my life. If I wouldn't have stopped 25 years ago, I wouldn't be standing here. And the reason why I stopped was I was attending the 65th birthday of my father, and I was 39 then. And I realized when I continued smoking like this, I will not make it. And I stopped a couple of weeks later. But I believe that people need to communicate about this. Because I was smoking because Mr. Philip Morris and many other tobacco companies made me believe that smoking was nice. I fell as a 14-year-old young boy for Mr. Camel and Mr. Marlboro because I wanted to be like them. Nobody told me and showed me how it was. The government was a bit weak, and that time media and films were depicting smoking as good. Whenever you went somewhere as a young man, you saw a big man smoking a cigarette, it was the hero. So I believe films, cultures have a very strong role in communicating. The problem is that sometimes this is not funded. I'm from Germany. I think yesterday or today the Berlinale ended. You know the Berlinale probably better than I do. The German Film Festival, founded soon after the Second World War, with support from the German government, to help Germany to enter, after the difficult period of the Second World War, the international stage again. So now people from all over the world come and show their films. This year Germany did not win anything. The Norwegian film got what they call the Golden Bear, and many others got other prizes. Germany not. So people come, show their films, and go with the prizes, but while in Berlin, they communicate. And I think what we do need is communication in this world. We need to talk with each other, rather standing at loggerheads and shouting at each other. Governments have a lot of money to talk, but if they go to the UN, and even sometimes if they sit in parliaments, they do not really talk with each other, they shout at each other. Today we have elections in Germany. When I go home in the evening, I will wait for 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock to see how the first election results are. What I'm really afraid of is that politicians shout at each other and do not talk with each other. We talk about cultural clashes, and I think cultures don't clash. People don't clash necessarily. I know, except for one person, I know nobody in this room. I don't even speak Nepali. I'm a bit more than 1 year in Nepal, and I was always very welcomed. So cultures and people don't necessarily want to clash with each other. Sometimes they're misunderstanding. We have to bridge these misunderstandings, and that's where film plays a very important role. It's a Nepali-African film festival. I like what Madame, I have to look at her name, Mistra told me why she initiated this film festival, and I really admire her energy. they did a good thing. But when I look around here, I don't see anybody from Africa, which is a bit difficult. So I would wish, if you have next year the 14th festival, that you're able to find some sponsoring from a government to bring also African artists, African directors here. Because it's a way of communicating.
I heard GIZ is always happy to support certain cities.
Yes, I think if that is Germany, because the money GIZ spends comes from the German government. What they will be doing this one in particular, I don't know. But we need to communicate with each other, and one way of communicating is through films. Showing films of other cultures. At the moment, the world is dominated by Hollywood, Bollywood, and Nollywood in three different countries. And the major one is Hollywood, still dominating what we think and what we believe. Part of their thing was my smoking. It came from United States, selling me something which everybody knew at the time was poisonous. Bollywood and Nollywood have different things, but the governments have created the environment so that artists could do and thrive in India and in Nigeria. I appreciate the idea of a South-South cooperation, and I really also underlined the subtitle, Africa through the lens of Africans. Nobody shall judge somebody and while being seen through his own eyes. I'm German, and I will always be German. Whatever I see is through my German eyes, with all the goods and the bads I have. I'm married to a non-German, now since 25 years, and we still have cultural clashes. My wife comes from Turkey, and we know each other very well, but we also know our cultural differences. And the only way to overcome these differences, also in a marriage, is to try to talk with each other and to find a compromise that we live happily together. So with this, I would like to encourage you to continue this cultural change, work as a filmmakers, to make sure that cultures talk with each other, exchange and understand each other, and show governments how to do things, rather talking with each other and not shouting at each other. Thank you very much.